let's give a great big welcome to Shirley. Yay! We see you. Oh, we lost your sound. You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
All right, perfect. Yes, yep, we hear you. Love the belt and the dress. All right, let's see if we can we're gonna spotlight you. All right, let's give it up, Shirley. Story hour.
Hello, everyone. I can't see any of you, so I don't know how many there are, but I see hi, Greg. The wig's amazing. Did you just ask a question at the end of that? How heavy is it? It carries all my hopes and dreams, so it's quite substantial. It's not bad. It's solid foam. Take that.
Freezing. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Technical difficulties. We'll keep working on it. We want you to be able to experience Shirley's Shimmering Story Hour. She does look wonderful when she's frozen. We get a good look at her shimmering self and that wonderful wig. We recently had Shirley come to mini-con at the Lafayette Public Library a couple weeks ago, and she did a story hour for us there. It was wonderful, blowing bubbles and wonderful wigs every time. Oh, there is Shirley. Let's try. We'll try this again.
We'll try this again. You're right. Okay. I'm going to put you down for a second because I'm going to go get something to put my internet connection is unstable.
Yeah.
Like so many things.
Working well now.
I'm on my laptop now, so I'm going to just leave that alone. I'm going to go get a music stand so I can prop it up. I'll be right back.
Perfect. Oh, that wig is fabulous.
Oh, you get to see my fancy wallpaper in my room. Ooh, look at that.
Rock City.
Come on, visit Rock City.
Oh, Melly says, she has so many of those wigs and they're made out of pool noodles.
Oh, yes. It's a similar material. It's called EVA foam.
Ooh.
And what's great about it is when the designer takes it and makes the curve and then they heat it, it'll stay in that shape, which is really pretty cool.
Beautiful.
For a special kind of foam.
Well, Shirley, take it away. It's all you.
Hey, all right, friends. I'm going to read you a couple stories that are my favorites to read for Drag Queen Story Time. Just all kinds of issues and things that we can start helping our students kind of interact with, right? Diversity and inclusion and kindness and right, identity, all these things that, right, we all experience, go through, have to develop for ourselves. And so just finding great resources for our students, our kids, the people who come to our library, their families, friends, everything is really a lot of fun. So I've got some for you. And throughout the course of the time, will you ask some questions and I maybe I can get into the chat. Let me see if I can put it on the side. But maybe Angelique can help me with some questions too. Oh gosh, I don't want to click too many things. Oh no, I don't want to share that. My
I
screen.
will help out with questions.
Perfect. So I'll start with this. The first question was, does anybody know where Shirley got her wig? I've got several wigs, two different designers that I work with. One on Etsy, her name is Denise Vanderdonk, and she lives in Amsterdam. And her wig shop is called Foam Wigs and More. The other designer I work with, well, there's two more, I should say. The other designer I work with is Pola Frost, P-O-L-A, Pola Frost. She's a drag performer and she lives in Pennsylvania. There's a local woman named Lady Magnolia who also does foam wigs. So those are three, right, resources for you. Here's one of Lady Magnolia's wigs. It looks like a Dole Whip. Okay, enough of that, but I will take more questions throughout our time together. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Dole Whip. Okay, so let's start. Just a wonderful, wonderful book, Perfectly Norman, Tom Percival. Absolutely love this story. So let's just jump right in with this one. Norman had always been normal, perfectly normal, until one day he grew a pair of wings. Oh, would it be fun to grow a pair of wings? Yes. Oh my gosh, Norman had imagined growing taller or growing a beard like his dad, but he had never imagined growing a pair of wings. Still, they were here now, so he decided to test them out right away. Soon, Norman was swooping around and generally having the most fun ever. But then, dinner. He had to go in for dinner. Now, you see, Norman had always been so normal, he didn't know how his parents would feel about his extraordinary wings. As he went in, Norman covered himself up in a great big coat. His parents didn't notice the wings, but they did think it was odd for him to be wearing a coat indoors. Bath time was problematic. So was bedtime. The coat was hot and uncomfortable, but Norman had decided that no one should see his wings. Ever. The next day, Norman went to the park, but he was far too hot to play any of his favorite games. And so it went on. Long car journeys were unbearable. The swimming pool was dreadful, and that was nothing compared to his friend's birthday party. The only time Norman could feel normal now was when it rained. One day, a boy tried to pull his coat off, and Norman had to run away, hot-faced, angry, and sad. Oh, he wished he'd never grown those stupid wings. But then, Norman saw some birds high up in the sky, and he remembered the joy of his first flight. It occurred to him that it was the coat that was making him miserable, not the wings. Why don't you take that scruffy old thing off? Suggested his mom and dad. Norman looked up at them hesitantly. His parents smiled and nodded. Norman smiled back, and then he threw off his coat and let his wonderful wings fan out. Oh, Norman leapt into the air. Finally, he was free of that coat. He noticed a few other children wearing thick, heavy coats of their own. They looked up at Norman and around at one another nervously. There was a moment's pause, and then whoosh! The sky was filled with flying people. Oh, Norman had never felt so happy. You see, he realized that there is no such thing as perfectly normal, but he was perfectly Norman, which is exactly as it should be. Yay! Oh my gosh, I like to say after I read one of those stories, Perfectly Norman by Tom Percival, I love that story. And you say, I love that story. Thank you. I see you doing that. So wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I love that story. Thank you for typing that in. You're so sweet. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Put that one down. Oh, let me read another one for you. Mm. Oh, goody, goody. Friends, who likes unicorns? Who likes horses? Somebody just wrote nope. Does that mean they don't like unicorns? Who likes pink cupcakes? Well, you're in luck, friends, because this story has all three. Oh, I should find a book with a dragon in it. Somebody wants dragons. Okay, I'll look for that. Here we go, friends. This is Unicorn and Horse by David Miles with illustrations by Holly Mingert. This is Unicorn and this is Horse. Unicorn is a unicorn and horse is not. Unicorn has a sapphire horn, a rainbow mane. I missed one thing there. Oh, a silver coat and perfect white teeth. Horse does not. Do you see the book that Horse is reading? How to Be a Unicorn. Unicorn eats pink cupcakes for every meal. Horse does not. Unicorn makes rainbows. Horse makes something else. Can you go? Yeah, that's good. Unicorn dances, tra-la-la. Horse sits grumpy, blah, blah, blah. Unicorn prances, ha, ha, ha. Horse looks frumpy, paw, paw, paw. Unicorn makes everything cheery. Really cheery. Horse does not. Now, of course, all the animals love unicorns. He has a horn, so squirrel can play ring toss. Bird lines her nest with his long, beautiful hair. And everyone loves sharing his cupcakes. Won't you join us, horse? No, I don't like you, said horse. But what he meant was, I wish I were you. Oh. Now, friends, unfortunately, not everyone who heard about unicorn was a happy or an unhappy animal. You see, a rainbow dancing unicorn who eats cupcakes for breakfast could make someone a lot of money. So one night, when everyone was asleep, two men crept into Unicorn's paddock as quietly as they could. They tied a startled unicorn up in ropes, loaded him into their truck, and they were off. The other animals awoke when they heard the truck. Hurry, hurry, they're stealing Unicorn. But I can't run fast enough to catch them, said Squirrel. And I can't fly fast enough to catch them, said Bird. And I can't run the road, said Fox. Oh, and I can't run at all, said Turtle. Only one animal could. Who do you think it is? Oh, you are such good readers. It's Horse. Horse thought and thought and thought, and then he ran and ran and ran. and with 6 great chomps of his big horse teeth, Unicorn was free. Oh, thank you, said Unicorn. Oh, you're welcome, said Horse. This is Horse, and this is Unicorn. Sometimes Horse eats cupcakes, and sometimes Unicorn eats hay. Sometimes Horse makes rainbows, and sometimes Unicorn makes something else. Can you make a glittery unicorn? Thank you. Horse likes races. Unicorn likes ring toss. But most importantly, they like each other. You see, Horse and Unicorn are friends, and that's better than anything, even pink cupcakes. Yay! Unicorn and Horse by David Miles with illustrations by Holly Mengert. I love that story. And all the people say, very good, friends. Look at all of you. Oh my gosh. Hi, there's Anna Marie and Tiffany and Allison and Melanie and Louise and Keelan and and there's Howda and I can't read Panchali and Giovanna and Hannah. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm the romper room. Do you remember the romper room with the magic mirror? Oh, it's so good. There's Betsy and Kelly and Mixed Red and oh gosh. I can't Wallen, Kelly, Susan. Look at all of you, Jennifer. Yes, romper room rocked. It was so good. Okay, friends. Let me see. What are we doing on time? Oh, very good. We got lots of time. Oh, thank you, Heather. I love that story. Um, oh, can I do the questions? Are there some questions? I didn't see them. Can somebody highlight those questions or type them
Yeah,
again?
I have the questions for
Oh, good.
Shirley. I will read
Thank
it
you.
for you. Yeah, let's start at the beginning. One person asked, do you remember the very first drag queen story time you did at a library? That's from Betsy.
Ooh, do I remember? Let's see. At a library. I want to say it was in Boulder at Boulder Public Library. That might have been the first library I did in 2017. I think that's right. Yeah.
That's what Melanie says. Yes,
I
2017.
did I did a couple other events before I got to the library. I did the Book Bar and Second Star to the Right. They both had events there too. Yes. Oh, Mixed Red, I would love to come to Glenwood Springs. Can you imagine? I would dress in my finest like 50s outfit. I'd put myself on the train, get myself a little sleeper car, and come on up with my library books. That would be really fun. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
The another question, I believe you answered, but if you can repeat, I might have missed this, but does anyone know where Shirley got her wig from D. Llewellyn?
Yes, D. Llewellyn. This wig came from Denise on she's Etsy and her store is Foam Wigs and More. And she's a fancy designer, so she does other things. So her store is only open for like three or 4 months in the spring. So look for her there opening in February, March. Foam Wigs and More. You can highlight them there. And right, favorite that shop and let them know. They'll say like, let me know when you're open. Let's see.
Do you have any insights on how public library staff can advocate to leadership about drag storytime and/or the benefits of LGBTQIA plus books being featured in storytime and children's displays? That's from Panchali.
Ooh, thank you, Panchali. There's lots of information out there, but I want to say that there's got to be some research around it. But I know in our LGBTQ plus community, we talk a lot about how it's really important to affirm our LGBTQ youth when they see themselves represented in the world, and that's media and books, but also when they see queer people walking around. There's a lot of evidence around that they see themselves as an adult or growing up or seeing what's possible for their lives. And we know that our LGBTQ plus population is more susceptible to depression, to risky choices, to even taking their own lives because of the kind of the greater society saying, we don't want you to exist. We don't want to see you. We're gonna, keep all these books aside. We're not going to let you see this representation. And there's a lot of things around identity and that are really very, very positive. And if we let our queer kids see queer representation, that makes a big difference in their self-worth, their self-esteem, their identity building, right? And then moving up into adolescence and adulthood. I think even for our allies, it's important for people to see that there is diversity in the world, right? If I have my own little corner of the world and I think everybody looks like me, talks like me, acts like me, believes like me, behaves like me, right? Then I have a very limited view on the diversity of the world. And I think there's a lot of shock that comes when kids realize that, oh, there are just gay people in the world, or there are people who have different religious beliefs or philosophical beliefs or speak different languages. You know, one thing that's really, I'm also an elementary school teacher, and one great unit that kind of we do on the world is looking at like what schools look like in different parts of the world. What does school lunch look like, or what is the amount of recess time, or what does the building actually look like? And that can be really eye-opening for students. And so those are some of my thoughts there. One Colorado or the Gay and Lesbian Center will have some more additional resources, maybe some more statistics or some more research or things like that to help library leadership, if we're looking at administrators or people like that, to start understanding that books can be for everybody, and books everybody should find themselves represented in something that's a positive example of what queer people can look like, or gay people can look like, or whatever.
Another question for you, Shirley. Let's see. Oh, it says, I am so impressed you know this entire book by heart. How many times have you read it? I'm thinking that
Oh,
was for the first book.
yes, yes, yes. um I do have it. I do have it memorized. So I've read it several times. I've probably read it 100 times at story times, maybe not quite that many. But as an elementary school teacher, here's the thing, right? People out there will say, oh, drag queens are terrible. They're going to get into they're warping kids' minds or whatever, the bad things they say that we're doing. But I'm also an elementary school teacher. So I was just like, fine, I'm going to put this book on my approved list, and I'm just going to read it every day to every student in my school. And that was our school book last year. So I probably read it. I probably read it 100 times just at school, because I read it to every class every day that I saw them over the course of an entire week. And we acted it out. We did a big presentation about it. So I've read that book a lot. 150 times maybe.
Thank you, Shirley. Let's see, another question. It says, Drag Story Hour has been one of the powerful story times we have done. I always say I can tell a child to be themselves in story time 100 times, but when you have a drag queen telling children that, they understand and love it. And that's from Melanie.
Yes, Melanie. They understand it in a different way, because when I walk into drag queen story time, I'm often the only person who looks or dresses right anywhere near like that. So I stand out, right? So saying to someone, it's okay to be yourself, and being the one person in a room of 150 people that absolutely stands out, sends a really powerful message. It's a really strong example of, this is one idea, this is one example of what that looks like. It's going to be different for many different people across the board, but right, when you walk into a room full of people and you're the only one that looks like you. You're being yourself, and everybody knows it.
We have Karen here saying this title is available in Spanish too. Unicornio y caballo.
Oh, see. Yeah, I should find it and learn it in Spanish too.
Oh, that would be amazing. We have, oh my gosh, loving this book. I might have to change my view on unicorns. We'll wait for the ending. And that's from Dawn.
Thank you, Don.
Excellent. Love your storytelling skills. And then we have, how do we get you to our library? That's from Glenwood Springs.
Reach out to Melanie, and she just put her email there. I see there, Glenwood, and reach out and she will connect us, and then you and I can start talking. I'd love to come to Glenwood.
Here's a good one. What questions do kids ask you? From Hannah.
Oh, let's see. Um, all kinds of things like, is your hair real? How long does it take you to do your makeup? Are you a boy or a girl? I get that question. And, then it can be a fun, playful answer. It's like, are you a boy or a girl? And it's like, yes. Today I've dressed like this, and tomorrow I might dress differently, right? But for me, when I show up as Shirley, right, that's my character that I'm playing, right? When I'm not dressed like this, I'm dressing in, shorts and t-shirts, and I use male pronouns, and all that, going to school and teaching there. So it helps to kind of start that understanding, or different how about helping students, right, develop those ideas that drag is a performance. It may be a character of who I am, but it's not necessarily like my identity. I don't walk around like this. I don't. Every now and then I have to pump gas because I didn't get it the night before an event, and I'm going to the library, and I can run out of gas, so I have to stop at the Shell in Aurora. That's always interesting. Got to do that every now and then. So those are a lot of the questions, right? Things like that.
Yeah. Where did your dress come from?
Ooh, so this is fun fabric that I got, and I had it made. So I have a designer in town. She works at the Denver Center, and when she's not designing clothes there, I can, twist her arm to make a little dress for me. So this fabric came from a little shop, a little quilt shop in Illinois, and I just emailed, how much of this fabric do you have? And she goes, well, how much do you want? And I said, that wasn't my question. How much do you have? She's like, 12 yards. Oh, I want 12 yards. I just want it all. I don't need 12 yards to make a dress, but I had to have it all.
Shirley,
Yeah.
how did you get such good storytelling skills?
Well, like I said, I'm an elementary school teacher. So for the past 18 years, I have been reading to kids every day. That's part of, right, elementary teacher's job. I also grew up in the theater. So I have years and years of experience of, acting, creating character. So that's voice work, physicality, all of those things. So telling the story, acting wise, is a really helpful skill for a storyteller, like a book reader. Yeah.
Have you read The Sublime Miss Stacks?
Sublime Miss Stacks. No. Is it? I want it to be about a librarian.
Right? Let's see who asked that
Oh, here it is. I
question.
see it up there.
Yes, it is about a librarian who is wonderful at many aspects of his job, but not story time. And then the amazing Miss Stacks comes in to do story time. And then at the end is revealed that they are one and the same.
We love a good twist. So good. Okay, Sublime Miss Stacks. Adding it to my list.
Nice. Panchali says, thank you. I also want those parents and families to know they're welcome in our spaces. Love the point of how important it is for our children to see queer adults thriving.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Panchali. That's amazing. So important.
And we have one that says, I love that answer about sending a positive message about being yourself. And then I said, let's see, when did you become your character, Shirley?
So let's see. I was part of the Colorado Gay Volleyball Association, and they were doing this campy pageant in 20 11, and they asked me to do it. They knew that I had a theater background, a performing background. And so I jumped in and took it, I was like, I know how to do this. I can be on the stage. I know how to this. I hadn't done drag before. So I got some help with that. And then entered the pageant, won the pageant. You want to know, my talent was in a lot of people did lip syncs and they were running around the audience. I stood on stage and I told the story of Steel Magnolias with 6 Barbie dolls in the course of 4 minutes. So I told the whole movie, right? Just picking up the Barbie dolls. So won the talent, and then somebody asked me to help them host a show, and I thought this was just going to be a one-off. And then all of a sudden, I'm hosting a show, I'm working with somebody else, and it kind of builds over. It was, I would do one show every 3 or 4 months with a couple of my friends. And then pretty soon, other people started getting interest in, hey, this is really neat. The Denver Center called, I did shows down there. And then last year I was doing sometimes 3 or 4 shows a month, a week. So like I've got 3 shows this weekend, 2 today, 1 tonight, and then 1 on Sunday. Yeah.
Wonderful. Are you bilingual? What's the best way to connect with a drag to invite to our library?
Let's see, Giovanna. Melanie has my contact information. It's probably easiest because you probably have her email there too, to get back to me. I probably couldn't have a very good conversation with anybody specifically in Spanish. But I would love to be able to, learn some of these books that are available in Spanish, if that's the bilingual that we're looking for. And there's lots of drag performers out there. I know Melanie's got a list of drag performers who do story time, and then she can connect you to me, and I can connect you to other people perhaps, to invite a bilingual drag performer to your library.
Wonderful. I see that we have someone requesting another story if you have one.
You bet. You bet. We have how much time do we have left?
15 minutes.
Oh, perfect. I can do a couple. I'll save. Melanie knows what's coming, but I'll save the best for last.
And Melanie did share she can connect you with someone that does bilingual.
Perfect. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I've got 2 more coming for you. Maybe 3 if we've got some time. Sorry, my stack just fell over here. All right. I knew Melanie was going to ask for that one, so I'll do that one. Okay, friends, I need to give you a small disclaimer. This book contains a naked baby. If you do not want to see a naked baby, do what you have to do. I'll give you some time. You're all here to see the naked baby. Okay, here we go. This is a story called Fred Gets Dressed, and it's by Peter Brown. And I love Peter Brown. Not only is he an author and illustrator, you might know him. He wrote the trilogy of The Wild Robot, and that just got a major motion picture release last weekend. So Peter Brown. A couple things about this. This is a true story. This actually happened to Peter, this whole idea of him getting dressed. And he changed it to Fred Gets Dressed. He liked the kind of the pop of that title better than using his own name. And then what's interesting is he's also a really fantastic artist. And using his computer and all of his knowledge and skill, all of the pictures in the book are drawn with only 4 colors: black and white, green, which was his mother's favorite color, and pink, which is his favorite color. And so as you're looking through as you're looking at the pictures, just kind of take that information in, because I think that's really cool. What an artist is able to do by mixing and blending and doing all kinds of fun. All right, here we go. Fred Gets Dressed by Peter Brown. Fred is naked. There it is, just right off the bat. Fred romps through the house, wild and naked and free. He romps around his bedroom, and across the hall, and into Mom and Dad's bedroom. Fred might never get dressed. But what's this? Fred has stopped romping. He peeks into Mom and Dad's closet. He walks through the door. Fred looks at Dad's side of the closet. He thinks about the ways Dad dresses. It might be fun to dress like Dad. Who has ever dressed up like Dad before? Mm-hmm. 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 So Fred carefully picks out a shirt, a tie, and a pair of shoes. But he has trouble putting them on. They're too big. So then Fred looks at Mom's side of the closet. He thinks about the way Mom dresses. It might be fun to dress like Mom. Who's ever dressed up like Mom before? Oh, the last time I did story time, a little boy yelled at me, "You're doing it right now." And I was like, yes. My mother had a giant foam hair. Look, so Fred picks out a blouse, a scarf, and a pair of shoes. He has no trouble putting them on, but he's not finished yet. He walks out of the closet and over to Mom's dressing table. The shoes are big and wobbly, so he has to go slow. Fred picks through Mom's jewelry box and makeup drawer. He thinks about Mom's different styles. Fred knows what to do with the jewelry, but what are these things for? Uh-oh. Before Fred can clean his face, Mom and Dad come stomping into the room. Who's ever had this moment before? Mm-hmm. But they're all smiles. Mom picks out some different cases and tubes and brushes. She begins doing her hair and makeup. Fred watches closely and follows along. The whole family joins in the fun, even the doggy. Now, Fred is dressed. Well, mostly dressed. There you go, friends. That's Fred Gets Dressed by Peter Brown. I love that story. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, friends. So good. Ugh, yay. Oh, look at all of you. So good. Oh, yes. Okay. Woo. I know you've got someplace else to be. Do I have to? Oh, I don't know if I can finish this one in that amount of time. I think I can.
We have time.
Okay, here we go, friends. My last one today is called My Shadow is Pink, and it's written and illustrated by Scott Stewart. Quite fantastic. And this one's written in verse, so I'll do my best. Now, over the past couple years, there has been a lot of hubbub around drag queen story time. Why would a grown person like me want to dress like this and hang out with kids and their families in the library? People who have never been to drag queen story time make up all sorts of tales about why I would do it. And I think the introduction to this book says all I need to say. For Colin, you are loved exactly as you are. This goes back to that earlier question about, how can we get people to understand the importance of drag queen story time, having LGBTQ books available, is to remind people, right, that you are loved. You may not feel it all the time. It may be, difficult all those things, but it's you are loved. There are a lot of people in our world, saying horrible things, specifically about our uh, drag performers, our queer people, our trans kids, all of our LGBTQIA plus community. And I just want to remind you that you are loved exactly as you are. If you don't hear that from anyone else, remember that you heard it from me. You are loved exactly as you are. Here we go. My dad has a shadow that's as blue as can be, and there's nothing but blue in my whole family tree. But mine is quite different. Mine's not what you think, for mine is not blue. My shadow is pink. My shadow loves ponies and books and pink toys, princesses, fairies, and things not for boys. But there's one thing it likes the most I have found. It loves wearing dresses and dancing around. It spins and it sparkles and it twirls through the air, then stops as my dad walks in with a stare. It'll turn blue one of these days. Don't worry, he says. It's just a phase. Dad's shadow is blue. It is big, it is strong, but when I stand with it, I just feel so wrong. I wish mine was blue like all of the others. I wish mine was blue like my dad's and my brother's. I'd be part of the group of that, there's no doubt, but I cannot fit in when my shadow stands out. Now, things are all changing, and that is not cool, but I'm ready to start my first day at school. You'll need pencils and books and lunch you must bring. Dress up with your shadow in its favorite thing. My heart skips a beat and I put on a dress. I look at my dad, who is anxious and stressed. He takes me to class and he turns to say bye. My face is all worried. There's fear in his eyes. So his face is all worried. There's fear in his eyes. So I step in the doorway and puff out my chest. One thing is clear. I'm not like the rest. I try to say hi, but my voice, it's too quiet. The kids turn around and the room, it goes silent. I run out the door. I push past my dad. I run to my house feeling angry and sad. If my shadow was blue, I'd be there making friends. I'd be laughing and playing and drawing with pens. I rip off the dress. I throw it down to the floor. I won't wear it again, not ever. No more. Just then, at my door came a soft little knock. It's my dad walking in, and I stare up in shock. Both he and his shadow, in dresses they stood, with shimmering seams and pink sparkling hoods. He speaks in a voice that's quite soft, but is stern. Pick up that dress. You must listen and learn. Your shadow is pink. I see now it's true. It's not just your shadow, it's your innermost you. He showed me the photos of parents and brothers, of aunts and uncles and cousins and others. We've all had a shadow that's hidden from eyes. Sometimes our shadow, it lives in disguise. His shadow loves painting and fashion and art. Her shadow loves engines and powerful cars. His shadow loves dance with its turns and its twirls. Her shadow, she hides it. Her shadow likes girls. His shadow loves theater and acting and plays. Her shadow loves science and planets and space. Your shadow is you, and pink it will be. So stand up with your shadow and yell, "This is me." And some, they will love you, and some, they will not. But those that do love you will love you a lot. So put on that dress and get back to school. If someone won't like you, then they are the fool. My heart nearly burst and my shadow, it soared. I picked up that dress and I wore it once more. We ran out the door, this time holding hands. My dad and our shadows, together we stand. I stride in my class and I puff out my chest. I may be different, but different is best. I join a small group, though in I don't blend. They look up and smile. Will you be our friend? Yes, friends, that's My Shadow is Pink by Scott Stewart. I love that story. Oh,
Thank you so much, Shirley. I think we have a couple more comments here.
great.
You touched
Thank
a
you.
lot of folks, a lot of tears, tears of joy, and just being able to connect with that story.
Yes.
Someone said, someone give Shirley a show, or is there a YouTube page where I can get my fix of Shimmering Story Hour on the regular? And that's Holly.
Perfect. Holly, I think I still have some. I'll check on my Facebook. Shirley Dr. Blow on her Facebook page should have some little story times up. I would love a show. I've been begging PBS for years and they just don't seem to have any interest. I'm getting very close to the point where I'm just going to produce it myself. During the pandemic, I actually wrote to most of the authors for those books during to ask, can I have your permission to read them online so that because Pride is happening virtually this year. And I did a whole series like on identity, and I did a whole series on transgender, specifically identity. And all of the authors were so wonderful about saying, we will give you our permission, right? So I think, right, I've at least have a relationship with a lot of those authors. It would be great if we could make that happen. A YouTube show, that would be fun. Sarah Ellen, do you have any idea how to do that? Or do I just record it and post it up there myself? Maybe that's what I just need to do, right?
Getting lots of love here. Here's
Thank
from
you.
Beth. I wear a wig due to cancer, so this is especially fun for me.
Yes.
And I see you are a national treasure.
So thank you. That's so much. So amazing.
Great storytelling and character, very animated. Your show would be amazing. Let's see what else. Shirley, your light is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing it with us, Tina.
Thank you, Tina. That's very sweet of you to say. I appreciate that very much.
If there's any other questions for Shirley, let's turn on our cameras so we can give Shirley lots of love and joy for being here with us today and ending our last day of our ClowCon Conference 24. Thank you so much, Shirley. Lots of love to you. We look forward to seeing you in Boulder on October 19th, I believe.
Yes, I'll be in Boulder on October 19th. If you look up shirleydeltablow.com, you'll see my whole calendar. There's all kinds of things, all kinds of events all over the state. So if I see you at an event, please come up and say hi, and that where we met at this conference would be fantastic. I would love to say hi.
Wonderful. Another last comment here. Your story time is as colorful as your beautiful wig.